Welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of August 30th, 2021. I'm Catherine Holecko, and I'm here with Terri Morrow.
Hello.
I'm Nicole Eridix.
Hi there.
Every week we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. This week we're complaining about yard signs celebration, and we are obsessing about back to school advice. We're also taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today we're talking about weddings again. So last week in our discussion of the new pressures to have a wedding hashtag and a really good gift bag and who knows what else to make your wedding special, Nicole said that she would like a do-over on her whole wedding. She would make
presumably not the groom, but everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you do differently if you were starting over today?
Well,
she'd have a rockin' hashtag for one thing.
Yeah. We would help her get a good hashtag.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think the big issue is that with my only wedding, I was working full time and our wedding was in another city, like 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, bless her heart, she did a lot of the planning and a lot of the arrangements. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was so busy with work that I just kind of let her run with it in a way.
Oh.
And
so it was the wedding of her dreams.
It definitely had many elements of mother in it.
Were there sprouts somewhere?
No sprouts. But there were a lot of other oddities, trust me.
Yeah.
So I just didn't have a hand in it, and I didn't like the venue. I didn't like the church. The people were great. I love the people who came, and that, when I think about my wedding as a whole event, my favorite part was the reception where everybody was enjoying themselves and, family and friends were there. And I'm really thankful that they were able to come because a lot of them did travel from far away. Mm-hmm. So, but I didn't, even the vows, like everything was just very, and a lot of it wasn't her. It was just, it was the choice of places and it just felt very stale. Like everything felt stale. Even our photographer and our videographer, everything was stale. And so I think if I were to do it over again, I would like to be in a much more lively, vibrant, upbeat setting. I don't know, with smaller, obviously a smaller group of people. And just, a few vows and let's go celebrate. I don't need to go through all the pomp and circumstance that we did with the first one, so I did like my dress.
Were there other weddings than you went to at the time that you liked better, or is it just an old-fangled versus the new-fangled weddings you see now?
That's a great question, because I did go to quite a few earlier on. There really wasn't one wedding where I was like, I wish I'd done this. I think maybe it was just at the time.
Yeah.
It was the location. It was the city we were in. They didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And even, friends' weddings that I went to, none of them I was like, oh, this is so amazing. Because, I think it was like the time, the era.
Yeah.
Of staleness. even with the dresses, there wasn't a lot of latitude. It was a very certain style of dress at that time. And I remember my mother-in-law was absolutely appalled that my wedding dress was off the shoulder. She was mortified.
Hussy.
It was very scandalous. She was mortified.
Nowadays, oh my goodness.
Oh.
That would be and then, positively Victorian in comparison to what some brides wear now.
It was like
and good for them.
Everything else, I had full body coverage except from the top of my shoulders. But, we were getting married in a Catholic church and that stressed her out. So. Yeah.
My
So
shoulders
there's a
were
lot of
covered in my
things.
Catholic church wedding, I'll have you know. I had puffed sleeves.
Mine weren't.
Yours?
Oh my
was?
goodness.
Mine was like
Did you have off the shoulder?
No, it was just like it had it was sleeveless, but it wasn't strapless. You know, it had wide shoulder straps.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
so the
So there was a little
outside
bit
of
of
my
skin.
arms were bare. And I guess my shoulders were covered, sort of.
Yeah. I don't have much in the way of shoulders, and so I like a good sleeve. So I don't have to worry
That's like
constantly
the
about
quote
if
of
the
the
strap
year.
is slipping down, if the thing is too low. I would constantly be pulling stuff up this way. Got myself a good solid puff sleeve on me. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, when I was trying on dresses, I was like, absolutely no strapless because I cannot hold that up. So it's gonna
Right.
be
No.
bothering me the whole day.
See our bra conversation from
Yes, exactly.
That's funny.
Do you ever think of like renewing your vows and then having a wedding that you would enjoy? That's a thing people do, I understand. Not me personally.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't have the time or the energy or the extra money to do that.
We did go to the Catholic Church's 25th anniversary. They have a thing for 25 years and 50 years, and they have a special mass, and you go and get a blessing. We did that.
Oh, that's nice.
Not the vow renewals. Our vows took pretty well the first time. We don't really have to re-up. No vow booster shots for us. We're good.
No booster shot. Would you, Catherine? Or have you?
No, we haven't. I don't think we would. Yeah. My husband would not be into like having a big party. I mean, as it is, when we actually got married, I had to really sit him down and be like, people will be taking your picture. You need to cooperate.
So maybe we need to be talking to him about all the things about his wedding that he didn't like.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mostly am happy. Like, there's a few things that I regret or that I would change. Like, there was a few, like, we didn't invite kids. And now I'm like, well, that was sort of not necessary. Like, it wouldn't have added that many more seats, more people. And I feel kind of bad about leaving them out. Not that the kids care, of course. But
nothing a kid wants to do more than sit in church and then at a grown-up party where people are drinking. Excellent.
Yes. We did have it. We had a baby because one of the bridesmaids had a baby. So he had to come. And that was fine. And like the flowers. I mean, I liked the flowers for sure. And also I liked the cake. And the cake had like lilies of the valley on it. I mean, made of icing, which had nothing to do with all the other flowers. So I would make them more cohesive. And I remember I like ripped out some pictures from magazines and gave them to the florist and just said like, I like these. And in general, it's going to be in the fall. So I want it to be, seasonal, but not like a hayride. And so he just made exactly what was in the picture. Which, again, they were fine and they were pretty, but they didn't, like, it wasn't like a cohesive whole. Like, everything was kind of unrelated. So these are obviously small quibbles.
But they add up. They add up. When you look back on your wedding, it's like, yeah, there's some things that,
Right. I mean, there's just so much pressure because you're only going to do it once, presumably. So.
Yeah, you don't go into it thinking, well, we'll try these things now, and then the next time
around,
I'll know what I want.
We'll have a better idea.
It is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I also had the thing, Nicole, where it wasn't where I lived. It was like 2 hours away, and it was in my husband's hometown because he had a lot of older relatives that weren't going to be able to travel. And, anyway, it just worked out. It was fine. And but my mother-in-law had to do a lot, and she was good. She didn't like, press me to do things differently or anything. She was great. But it's harder when you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like she picked the florist. She was like, "You have to use this guy." I was like,
Oh,
okay,
dear.
whatever.
Okay.
And he was good. He was.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he recreated the pictures perfectly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Terry? Did you have any?
Well, I was planning the wedding in the same place I was living, but had only been living there for 2 years, and it was far away from everything that I knew. So, and I was really planning it myself because, obviously my mom was on the other side of the country, and at least where I grew up, at the time I grew up, we didn't do weddings in California the way they did weddings in New Jersey. Our weddings in California were very informal. It was a church wedding and then coffee and cake in the church hall and presents, and that was it. But in New Jersey, at least in the Italian culture that I was marrying into, you have a big party at a catering hall, and it's a whole thing. And there are people that have to be invited. And, my mother-in-law would probably have very happily planned the whole thing for me, but no, I can do it. But there was a whole thing with the lists of who had to come and who could not come. You could invite an entire level of family, but you can't invite one person from a particular level and then nobody else from that level. There were rules. I knew one of my
So if you're close to one cousin,
right,
you have to invite all the cousins.
Of this huge family that my husband had, I knew one of his cousins. We sang in the choir together at church, and I would have loved to invite her, but my mother-in-law said, absolutely not. We can't, or else you have to invite another 75 people. And I'm like, well, no, that's not going to happen. So I explained it to her and she said, oh yeah, I understand. So she knew what the deal was. But so that was a little weird. And just having so many people and having it be at a catering hall, and that just amps up everything else. And I did get a little bridezilla-y about the dresses for the bridesmaids. I liked them very much, and I still do. They hated them. And I look back at pictures now, and I think, I still like those dresses. My best friend, who was my maid of honor, gave me her dress afterwards, saying, basically, you like it so much, here, you take it.
You can have it.
But you know how it goes. There's so much stuff, and there's so much pressure, and it's like, first I told them, the dresses aren't going to be any big deal. It's going to be something you can use again later. And then you start thinking about it and you start planning, you start looking at things. And my future sister-in-law said, oh, I can make the dresses. And then I start looking at patterns and and it just got to be a thing. They were very peasant-y dresses with puff sleeves and flowers and, I still think they were very pretty, but that's something that maybe people who were in my wedding would say, I got an idea what you could have done differently over here. But other than that, my husband and I were sort of just like deer in the headlights about all the money we were spending and about all the decisions that had to be made.
Yeah.
What food do you want? What kind of dishes do you want? What kind of chairs? What kind of tablecloths? This, that, all. You want dancing? You want a DJ? Do you want a band? All this stuff. And we just, so many decisions. And it feels like it's so monumental. But in the end, oh man, was it fun. The Catholic church service was fun. I remember my husband was making faces at me during certain things, and I was laughing. And then the party was such a good party. Oh, we had a great time. So I remember it all very, very fondly. Anything that wasn't perfect is a good story. So
yeah, exactly.
It was against all odds. It was wonderful. It was a great day. We had so much fun. And I think everybody else had fun too. Even if they didn't care for the clothes they were wearing. I'm not still holding a grudge about that, by the way. And, so I don't think I would do anything differently. I don't want to do over. That's perfect. Nor do we want to do over for this podcast, because you know what? We're done. We're going to get out of here. That's it for today's round 1. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round 2, and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat. Tell us about your wedding terrible stories. Do you have them? Or your mine was perfect. Yay!